I need to be direct with you about what we're facing over the next 4 days. This winter storm has evolved beyond our initial projections, and the ice accumulation threat now extends across a much larger area than we anticipated just 24 hours ago. We're looking at over 150 million Americans in the path of what will become one of the most destructive ice storms in recent memory, with power grid failures that could leave millions without heat for days, potentially weeks in some areas. The storm system will deliver not just snow, but catastrophic ice loading on power infrastructure from Texas through the Carolinas, and new model data shows the system will stall and reinforce itself multiple times, dramatically extending the duration of freezing rain across the South. Right now, as I'm speaking to you this afternoon, light freezing rain is already beginning across portions of North Texas and southern Oklahoma. Oklahoma City and Tulsa are starting to see their first ice accumulation, and this is just the beginning. The initial wave of this storm will move through tonight, but what makes this so dangerous is that we have a second, much more powerful system developing over the Rockies that will merge with the first wave by Saturday night, creating a massive, slow-moving winter storm that will park itself over the central United States for an extended period. Tonight, freezing rain will spread rapidly eastward from Dallas-Fort Worth toward Shreveport and Monroe, Louisiana. Little Rock will transition from light snow into significant freezing rain by the overnight hours. Memphis will see the same transition happening. What concerns me most about tonight's setup is that temperatures will be hovering right at that critical threshold where we get maximum ice accumulation. The freezing rain will be moderate to heavy at times across this entire corridor, and power outages will begin before sunrise on Saturday. By Saturday morning, the ice storm will be in full swing across a massive area. Dallas-Fort Worth will have been receiving freezing rain for nearly 12 hours by that point, and ice accumulations will be reaching the quarter-inch mark across the Metroplex. That's the threshold where we start seeing scattered power outages. But Saturday afternoon is when this situation becomes truly dangerous. The second wave of energy will be developing over New Mexico and the Texas Panhandle, and as it moves eastward, it will merge with the existing storm system, creating what can only be described as a winter weather bomb. Saturday evening into Saturday night will be the most critical period for power grid stability across the South. Freezing rain will be ongoing simultaneously from San Antonio and Austin, Texas, all the way through northern Mississippi and into northern Alabama. Huntsville, Alabama, will be dealing with heavy freezing rain. Atlanta will be on the edge of this ice storm, and current models suggest the city will receive at least a quarter-inch of ice, possibly more. The area around Memphis, Tennessee, and extending southward into northern Mississippi near Tupelo, this is where we could see ice accumulations exceeding 1 full inch. That level of ice loading will bring down power lines and cause widespread infrastructure damage. What makes Saturday night so particularly dangerous is that we'll have this massive area of ongoing freezing rain, but the storm system will be moving very slowly. Instead of typical winter storms that move through in 6 to 12 hours, this system will park itself and continue producing freezing rain for 18 to 24 hours in some locations. Shreveport could see freezing rain from Friday evening straight through Sunday morning. That extended duration is what turns a manageable ice event into a catastrophic one. Sunday will bring additional complications as the storm system finally begins to move eastward, but slowly. The Carolinas will be dealing with their ice accumulation Sunday into Sunday night, Charlotte, North Carolina, is forecast to receive significant icing. Upstate South Carolina will see similar conditions. Even areas that normally handle winter weather better, like Northern Virginia and the Washington, D.C. area, will transition from snow into freezing rain Sunday evening, adding ice accumulation on top of what could be 8 to 12 inches of snow. I need to emphasize the infrastructure impact we're facing. When ice accumulations reach a half-inch, which we're forecasting across a widespread area from East Texas through northern Georgia, power lines begin to fail, not from individual tree branches, but from the sheer weight of the ice itself. The power lines sag, they snap, and transformers fail from the mechanical stress. In areas where we're forecasting ice accumulations of 3/4 of an inch to over 1 inch, particularly along the Mississippi River from Memphis southward to Vicksburg, we're talking about catastrophic power grid damage. The repair challenges will be immense. Utility crews cannot safely work on power lines with ongoing freezing rain. They have to wait for conditions to improve. But behind this storm system, we have an Arctic air mass that will keep temperatures below freezing for an extended period. Areas like northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and southern Tennessee will likely stay below freezing for at least 72 hours after the freezing rain ends. That ice will remain on the power lines, making repairs difficult and dangerous. The timing couldn't be worse from a human impact standpoint. Wind chills behind this storm system will drop to 0 degrees or below across much of Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas by Sunday night. Northern Texas could see wind chills approach 10 below zero. When you combine those temperatures with widespread power outages, you create a life-threatening situation for vulnerable populations. I want to be clear about the uncertainty that still exists in this forecast. The exact placement of the heaviest ice accumulation zone could still shift 50 to 75 miles north or south, and that would make a significant difference for cities like Nashville, Atlanta, and Birmingham. If the storm tracks slightly further south, Nashville could avoid the worst icing and see primarily snow. If it tracks north, Atlanta could see even heavier ice accumulation than currently forecast. Confidence is increasing in the overall pattern, but these details matter tremendously for individual locations. The power grid vulnerability extends beyond just the immediate storm area. When you have widespread outages across Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and extending eastward, it affects the entire regional electrical system. Natural gas production facilities in Texas and Oklahoma could be impacted by power outages and extreme cold, which could affect heating supplies across a much broader area. This is a cascading infrastructure threat, not just a localized weather event. For areas in the Northeast, while the primary threat will be snow rather than ice, the amounts are going to be significant. Philadelphia, New York City, and Boston are all forecast to receive 12 to 18 inches of snow, with higher amounts possible across interior New England. The storm will still be producing heavy snow as it moves through the Northeast Sunday night into Monday. The agricultural impact across the South will be severe. Citrus crops in East Texas, livestock operations across Oklahoma and Arkansas, and farming operations that depend on electrical power for heating and water systems will all be vulnerable. The extended duration of below-freezing temperatures combined with power outages will cause significant economic damage beyond just the immediate storm response costs. I've been tracking winter storms across this region for more than 2 decades, and this ice accumulation forecast is among the most concerning I've seen. The combination of the widespread area affected, the duration of the freezing rain, and the amount of ice accumulation creates a perfect storm for long-duration power outages. Areas along the Mississippi River from Memphis southward could see power restoration times measured in weeks rather than days. Recovery will be complicated by the fact that this storm affects such a large geographic area. Mutual aid resources that utilities typically call upon during major outages will be stretched thin because multiple states will be dealing with simultaneous grid damage. Line crews from unaffected areas will be mobilized, but the scale of the damage could overwhelm typical response capabilities. The National Weather Service has issued ice storm warnings from East Texas through northern Georgia, covering an area where more than 40 million people live. Additional ice storm warnings may be necessary as the forecast becomes more refined over the next 12 to 24 hours. Winter storm warnings extend from New Mexico through Massachusetts, one of the largest continuous warning areas I've seen for a single weather system. This is not a storm you wait until the last minute to prepare for. If you're in the warning area, particularly from Dallas through Memphis and extending eastward into northern Alabama and Georgia, you need to complete your preparations today. Charge all electronic devices. Ensure you have adequate food and water supplies. If you have a generator, make sure it's ready to operate safely. If you have medical equipment that requires electricity, make arrangements now for backup power or alternative locations. The storm will begin impacting travel by Friday afternoon across Texas and Oklahoma. By Saturday, travel will become impossible across much of the warned area. Plan to be where you need to be by Friday evening, because Saturday and Sunday, travel will not be safe across a huge portion of the central and southern United States. I'll continue monitoring this situation closely over the next several days. The forecast details will continue to be refined, but the overall threat is clear and imminent. This will be a historic winter storm, with impacts lasting well beyond the precipitation ending. Stay weather aware, complete your preparations, and prepare for extended power outages if you're in the ice storm warning areas. We'll have continuing coverage as this dangerous situation unfolds over the next 4 days.